Mm-hmm.
And here we go.
Da-da-da.
So, yeah, we'll give it a few secs.
You get the screen sharing all figured out this week, Richard?
Yep, there we go.
All right.
We are ready to go with the show.
Good to go.
Good to go. Ready to kick butt and take names.
Weedle Deedle.
Quite so. Okay, now just make sure I'm all set up here. All right, looks like I'm all set up. Are you ready?
Ready to go.
Alrighty then. So, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at the week in Bigfoot news. Joining me from a podcast so evil that the devil himself has excommunicated it, Chris York. Chris, welcome to the show.
Good evening, Richard.
And that's the 40 Slip on YouTube / the 40 Slip. And if you enjoy the 40 Slip and Power Breakdown and Bigfoot Crossroads, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Heading over to Facebook and look for Bigfooting with Keith N Collin, where this week we discover what happens to leprechauns once you find their gold. Without further ado, I am your host, Richard Allen, and let's just get on with it. Our first story comes from roadtrippers.com. It's about the Bigfoot Discovery Museum in Santa Cruz. Now, this is an incredibly long article, so I took the liberty of just bullet pointing it. It's about Michael Rugg. He's not a kook. The article is quick to point out. He's an erudite, evidence-seeking citizen scientist.
Do we have a picture for that?
We do. He's the Fox Mulder of Sasquatch lore, and there in Felton, he's the nexus of the Bigfoot homeland hidden deep in the Santa Cruz Mountains. 100 years ago, cult leader William Riker founded Holby City for the followers of his philosophy, preaching celibacy, white supremacy, and racial and gender segregation. 20 years later, in 1939, this is about Santa Cruz. And then there are Bigfoot sightings. On a map hung on the wall of his museum, Rugg has marked with multicolored pushpins more than a dozen locations within Felton and its immediate surroundings, where individuals have spotted the creature or evidence it left behind. He has documented more than 200 of them in the 90-mile stretch between Monterey Bay and Half Moon Bay. In the museum's inner sanctum, Rugg plays the Patterson-Gimlin film, the holy grail of Bigfoot sightings, on a loop. Shot in 1967 in Northern California near the Oregon border, the 59.5-second film shows a 6 to 7 foot tall bipedal figure covered in dark brown hair walking along a creek bed and looking back at the filmmakers, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. For more than 50 years, the two have denied that the film is a hoax. Well, Bob Gimlin has. Roger Patterson has been dead for quite some time. And several studies, including those done by a biomechanical engineer, an anthropologist, and a certified forensic examiner, have suggested that this was no ordinary human in an ape suit. Analysis have shown that you couldn't fit a human into this costume, Rugg says. There's no place for the head, the arms, the legs are the same length. Science has proven that this is not a costume. The film is probably the closest thing we have to proving the existence of a creature that prefers to remain elusive, but Rugg and other believers say it's by no means the only evidence they have found. In the Santa Cruz Mountains alone, several discoveries suggest that Bigfoot are well afoot. Other discoveries include a very robust molar found in a puddle on a trail in Scotts Valley, an oversized human-like jawbone discovered in Valenciana Creek in the Apatos, and a deliberately made creche of rocks, sticks, and feathers in Ben Lomond. One local woman found a pile of acorns 5 feet tall. That's acorns, sorry. On the back 40 acres of her wooded property. The fact that the indigenous communities around the world have independently created myths about hairy human-like beings, the Yeti, the Yowie, the Sasquatch, the Skunk Ape, the Yali, in itself intriguing. To explain the creature's origin, Rugg looks to the Pleistocene area, a period in which megafauna roamed the earth in large numbers. Later, doing some investigations of my own, I discovered Rugg is right, sort of. The Gigantopithecus, massive ancient primates that may have been up to 9 feet tall, over 1,000 pounds, did live in the same time as modern humans, but their fossil remains, of which there are only a handful, have never been found outside of Asia. So, yeah, there you go. The Bigfoot Discovery Museum is located right by the main entrance to Henry Cowell Redwood State Park. It is open every day except Tuesday between 11 and 6 p.m. Entrance is free. Oh, free. That's cool. A lot of these other museums charge money.
Yeah, I've been there.
Oh, you've been to the Bigfoot Discovery Museum?
Yeah.
Is that any good?
It's very small. It was a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, considering it's a Bigfoot museum. I put the emphasis on the wrong part of that word there. Yeah, it's you walk in and you literally kind of come around, turn a corner, go around, and there's Mike's spot. I've seen the map that you speak of with the push pins, and he does have the Patterson Gimlin footage on a loop, and it's on an ancient Mac computer. I mean, the thing like needs help. Last time when I was there, it needed help, but
Maybe he's updated it in a time.
I hope so. But I mean, it's a cute little museum, and Mike's a great guy. I had dinner with him one night. Him and the other two fellows that help him run the place. But yeah, it's a cool little place. I recommend you check it out.
So head on over to Santa Cruz and the Bigfoot Discovery Museum. Our next story comes from Y, and it asks a very simple question. Philadelphia Inquirer reporter Jason Knott recently made a surprising discovery. There are lots of people in Pennsylvania who believe in Bigfoot. A legend has it the large primate, also known as the Sasquatch, is mostly spotted in the Pacific Northwest. So why are there so many alleged sightings and Bigfoot enthusiasts here in Pennsylvania? And why is interest in the creature being rekindled in popular culture? And that's it. That's the article.
That's the entire story?
That's the entire story. I'm extremely limited in what I can look at, ladies and gentlemen. So...
Frustrating.
But yeah, it's got a very good, it does ask a very good question. I mean, we make a big deal about finding Bigfoot, but apart from that, there really hasn't been any more than usual, publicity around Bigfoot, but it has seemed to have gained in popularity over the last, 20 years or so.
Well, it definitely kind of had an explosion for a while, a few years back.
Yeah.
I think. Has it carried over? I don't think so. I think it's kind of died off a little.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for the next big thing now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. And as far as it being, a regional thing, like just being in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know about that either. So
no. It seems to be like on any map of Bigfoot sightings, the highest concentration is always in the Pacific Northwest, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that seems to be the place to go if you want to try and find Bigfoot.
Yeah, I would agree.
There are some states with Bigfoot sightings, and I'm like, really? That just don't seem to have the habitat, in my opinion, to support a large primate. But the Pacific Northwest is like a proper rainforest, so there's no reason why it couldn't support primate life, except that it gets really cold, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure they would have figured out ways around that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no scientist. I can't give you the exact the points or whatever. I just know that it seems like that is a great area for them.
Yeah.
If indeed they are there, and slash exist. I mean, we're making speculations.
Right.
So I would think if you're gonna go looking for it, here's what I would say: if you're gonna dump money into an expedition where you're gonna do actual like research, that's where I'd go.
All right. Yeah, me too, definitely. Or Florida. For the same reasons.
I might pass on Florida.
Well, it's got a pretty rich ecosystem.
It does.
So moving on to Squatchable. We have a Bigfoot sighting account on the Squatchable webpage. Eric, his brother, and 2 friends drove from Denver, Colorado to their family's property in north central Colorado near the Wyoming-Colorado state line to try and fill their elk hunting permits before the season expired. They arrived sometime right after it got dark and decided to immediately make a campfire before turning into a nearby trailer to get some sleep for the next day's hunt. Eric describes the ground on his property as consisting of granite and hard, with almost hollow sound to it when hoofed animals are walking nearby. They witnessed a large, upright figure come out of the darkness as it entered the outer fringe of the firelight around 40 feet from them. It seemed as if suddenly noticed them and quickly crouched down, and then turned and moved off back into the darkness. Eric stated that it all took place very quickly, but was like time stood still. It left back down the rise and away from them. All 4 men heard it and saw the figure come up and crouch and turn away. They went inside the trailer after it left and were very shaken. Their guns were left inside another trailer nearby, and no one wanted to go outside for a while to retrieve them. They went out the next morning to look around, but found no visible tracks or sign. Eric further describes its appearance in these details. It looked like a giant man, a male. The shoulders were very wide, extremely wide, and bulky in the chest. His estimate was 5'6", wide in the shoulders, and its overall height was between 9'6" feet to 10 feet tall. Eric said that it wouldn't fit through a standard doorway. According to Eric, they were able to measure a branch that had ducked under where it had left the next morning to get the height estimate. Eric said that when it crouched as it came into view by the light of the campfire, it appeared to be at least as tall as his brother when it was crouched, and his brother is 6'3". Eric describes its hair between 5 to 8 inches in length, but matted and dirty like sheep's wool, with a light coloration. When he was asked for more clarification, he responded a tan or greyish-white off colour. He said it was hard to tell exactly what the colour was from the firelight, but it appeared to be a uniform light colour. He also added that once they were talking to a neighbouring property owner about their encounter, when he said that he had seen the same thing chasing a deer in the open areas too. You have a sighting report from Colorado. I used to live in Colorado. And it
Did you have a graphic for that one?
Did I have a graphic for that one? No, not that one. The next one.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story.
Yeah.
You hear a lot of stories from hunters.
You do. And that makes sense. I mean, if anyone's going to see them, it's going to be, surveyors and hunters, really.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I used to live in Colorado, and I have been up near the Wyoming-Colorado border, and it is very woody and very, I hesitate to use the word squatchy, but...
Right.
But yeah, squatchy. Moving on to... Sorry.
No, I just said cool.
Moving on to our next story, skunk ape expert Dave Shealy talks about chasing Florida's version of the Bigfoot in the Everglades. This is Squatchable again. It's a 3-minute long interview with Dave Shealy. He talks about his encounter in the 90s, his many videos, and his museum. Did you have a chance to watch that?
I didn't get through that one.
Huh.
I checked out the stories themselves, but yeah, I mean, again, this is another one of those things. I hate it when I really do. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine when people are called, and we kind of make fun of it on my show. We always call Matt a Bigfoot expert because he was quoted in the Washington Post and referred to as a Bigfoot expert. I have a problem with that because show me the field.
Right.
Show me the factual field of Bigfoot that they're an expert in, and we'll call them experts.
Right. Tell us about their dietary requirements, their
Right.
gestation period for breeding, their mating habits, their calls.
Right. And even, to his credit, Matt hates that idea too. The idea of being called a Bigfoot expert. So
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. I don't like it either. I mean, you can't, in a field where the animal itself isn't known to exist, then how could you possibly call yourself an expert?
right.
Right. So we are moving on to our final story. No graphic for this. It was very difficult for me to read this one. I got a friend to screenshot it in the end because I was having problems with the EU, so there is no graphic for this one. And I'll just open it here and fiddle with the old screen share Reno. There we go. And that's the best I can do. So yeah, Bigfoot at the beach. This is this weekend. It's a Bigfoot conference. Cliff Barackman, Bobo Fay are going to be there. There's going to be a life-size cutout of a Sasquatch. There is a Yeti howling contest. I really want to get involved or find a YouTube of that because that just sounds awesome.
Is this Beachfoot?
No, it's Bigfoot at the beach, it says.
Okay. But yet another Bigfoot conference type thing.
Yeah, it is a Bigfoot conference. That's exactly
Good times.
Cliff Barackman, James Bobo Fay. It doesn't look like Jeff Meldrum's going to be there. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There's a maze. It's going to be Q&A session with Cliff and Bobo. There's a Bigfoot hunt giveaway where the grand prize of a Chevy Trail Boss. Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive. Tickets are still on sale. You can go up there this weekend. That's going to be Chinook Winds Casino Resort, Lincoln City, Oregon. So head on up there and have yourself a good time.
Absolutely. As I've said before, if that's your thing and you enjoy those things, go. Have fun. Yeah. Cliff's a cool guy. I've met him.
Haven't met any of them. Do you not say the same thing about Bobo?
I didn't get a chance to talk to him, so I don't really know. I mean, I saw him come in.
Yeah.
With his entourage.
He had an entourage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But, I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, so I can't really make any assessment on him as a person.
Cliff does seem like a cool dude.
Yeah, Cliff had recognized that I had interviewed him before. So.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, that wraps it up for this week, anyway. Shameless plugging time. What topic you got for tomorrow's show, Chris?
I haven't quite decided yet. I got to slide it by Matt and Steve and see what we're going to do.
All right.
So I don't quite know yet. What are you doing tomorrow night? Can you be on deck if I need you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. Just keep it in your back pocket.
Well, you want to do the Star Wars versus Star Trek thing?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I will be around if you need me.
Okay.
Let's see.
And the like page hit, the 40 and Slip like page hit 10,000 likes today.
Yes.
So if you haven't gone over and liked the 40 and Slip like page, it's facebook.com/the 40 and Slip.
Give them a like. He shares some really hilarious memes.
I try.
Like I said, Bigfooting with Keith N Collin. Leprechauns, what happens when you take their gold? That's coming up this week. Matt Knapp would love to hear from you if you've had a paranormal UFO or Bigfoot experience. You can reach him at bigfootcrossroads@gmail.com. I think that's everything.
Hmm.
I always assume we've got more to plug, but no.
That's it.
All right, so it's good night from me and it's good night from Chris. Good night.
Good night.